Yeah, we tap in the beginning.
No, we can just start from where we left off. So you were just talking about Mekong NYC and how
And
joining this is.
yeah, and when I was after I was 60, and I had a chance to be invited to join the Mekong, the board of Mekong NYC, organizing the Southeast Asians in New York City, which include Vietnamese. Um, the goal of Mekong NYC approaching community organizing in two different angles. One is advocacy and um, organizing, and also community organizing. One angle is education and culture, and one angle is service for the community, for the poor and neglected communities, so that the two the three prong approach to community organizing demand that Mekong has to have three hats, different hats, and doing quite diverse uh, activities for the community. Not only that, but it seems like the advocacy is the one that is leading the two other approach, because it's organizing the two other approach in order to elevate the Vietnamese community and the Southeast Asian community, Cambodian and other communities of Southeast Asian countries into to a level that is not ignored by the city and the authority anymore. That that is one of uh, the important aspect of organizing, community organizing, and also that there are many other issues that related to the Vietnamese community, which include me. Um, and so I think my life has to be one, because education, culture, um, service, and advocacy, community organizing has to be to wrap into one. And I have to think about it is a big challenge for me, and I have to think about wrapping my life into one. That is the hardest part. This interview, which spread out for many months, helps me a lot to think about different issues, and it went through many questions related to my activity in the past and my personal life. This is very nice. So I think that's helped me a lot. Um, for a month, I would think about how to say it.
Did you learn anything or was reminded of something about yourself through this interview?
Um, so that's the main thing. The main thing is that my life um, could be presented only one at one whole. In the past, I just do an interview on music alone, and I go into the detail of music, how the Vietnamese music and how Vietnamese culture is for the other, and how what kind of material they use in order to express that, and the tool. Then I go deep into the question of culture. But when you talk about organizing education, it is a little bit different. You have to know a lot about education as a service, as from the point of view of a government, from the point of view of the state. Then you have to think about that, plus an organizing aspect in it, so that the the people who are involved in the Southeast Asian community can benefit from it in the most liberating way.
And how old are you now?
I am now 66. It's going to 67 soon. Very old.
Your heart is always young.
I hope so, but it's an illusion. I always um, thought that in when I was 40, in my 40s, I always thought that I didn't have much time. I have to rush to do things. When I'm 60 right now, I believe that I will live forever. I'm not in a hurry. I just have to compose myself, try to think through things, and work with people and wait. When they're not ready, we have to wait to see how um, consciousness of people, political consciousness or social consciousness or racial consciousness, class consciousness, all of that, how people perceive it and how people turn it into um, uh, an understanding and an action.
I think that's interesting you raise that up because one person had asked me once, how does Anyang mentor you, Kathy? What is Nyan's mentorship style? So, what is your mentorship style?
Um,
And one, do you even consider yourself a mentor?
I don't consider myself as a mentor per se. The person, uh, all my people who I'm working with as friends, and I have to discuss with them honestly and have to present the case, very carefully. That makes sense. That is correct. That is factual, and so the facts will 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 tell you. I don't need to convince. I need to present the facts as they go in different time and in a different sequence, so the person will form a some some pattern out of it, and then from time to time I'm discussing what kind of pattern is it, why you call it a capitalist pattern, why is it a problem of private property, why is it a problem of a state that support that is the goal is to um, basically um, an a dictatorship of private property. It's in the old day, like like this. When sometimes I say in the old day, nobody thought of uh, owning land you can transfer to the next generation. They never thought of that. It never existed until capitalism and private property. Then you started to have one generation go after the other, owning the same thing that you bought like 300 years ago. That is beyond imagination. That is illogical in any case, because land belonged to everybody, and everybody was born on it, and so nobody should own it and own it for generation to generation. And now you have a problem in California of running out of water. Some people, uh, by law, they have the right to draw water from everywhere and store it from their own. They call it water bank. Everybody is starving for water, is thirsty for water, while they have plenty. This is new, but it's also reflected the fact that suddenly people steal something underground and they say that it's mine. That's illogical. In Vietnam, when I grew up, I read a lot of story about people do not believe that fish in the river belong to anybody. It belong to everybody. Anyone catch it, they got it. So private ownership is it's basically a big problem. You think that you own something today, and you have owned it for eternity. That is illogical. So uh, having facts and then um, see if the person have a recognize the pattern and then it turn them into action, and then I comment on that action by saying about adding about the theory of this society. So to make sure that when you fight for against um, neglect in the Bronx, you need to know the city. You need to know the budget of the city, sanitation budget, education budget, other budget of the city, to see how that budget is distributed to the Vietnamese community. So you bring it to a broader view. Sometimes it make it easier and the fight is shorter. Sometimes you don't have that and you don't know where to hit. So it's a two-pronged approach.
So your mentorship and leadership development of others is a two-pronged approach.
It's always two-pronged. One is um, facts, because people do not. Uh, if you tell them a theory, they learn it and they forget it. It never applies to anywhere. If you look at the facts and you realize that the fact has a pattern, then you start to realize how the society is organized, and it is conscious. It's not like accident. You think that people think that things happen by accident. It's not. It's usually um, is somebody organized it, and you know who organized it and why they organized it. It make it easier for you to find a solution for it. So it's always two.
Would you say Merle has the same approach? Merle is your partner.
Mer is much more. She's better in argument on facts than me. She's better than me on that part. If she see a fact that share between people, then she argue um, that fact very well. She doesn't wait until the next one comes. But my way of doing it is because as Vietnamese, you can only convince the Vietnamese by what they see. You can't convince them by giving a fact. And if you argue it out, they think that's communist.
So anything ideological and theoretical is communist. That's what I'm getting
It's
from what you're
beyond
saying.
it's beyond them, and it's not the way that they think, and they think it's maybe there's a trick here. When they say maybe there's a trick here, they immediately think of the opponent in the past, but it has nothing to do with that. But they still say it. That's really strange.
So going back to the interview too, I know that I think the first two times when we did the interview back in September and October, you had mentioned, "Oh, this is different from what you expected." What were your expectations coming into this project?
Um, I expect to answer only a political aspect of things.
And why was that?
'Cause, um, I smell that it was political from the beginning.
What was political from the beginning?
The questions. The question was political, right? So that, and then you start to question about philosophy of life and my life and my personal life and things like that. It's good. It helped.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, basically, I want to ask you, what do you learn from the line of question that you raised? It's from you.
Well, it's from a lot of different people. Right? Oh shoot, I forgot about that.